Hi, Max Brantley with the Arkansas Times on Tuesday, August 15th. Well, the national furor continues over the Charlottesville rally in support of white supremacy and Donald Trump's insufficient response to it, and a half-hearted response to it later after pressed to do more. Who knows where it will lead? It's pretty clear, as Ernest Dumas has written for the Arkansas Times this week, that Trump's bluster is more valuable in campaigning than it is in governing. But will the white supremacists on the White House staff, people like Bannon and Gorka, stay there, or will they stay, and will somebody like McMaster's, who the right wing doesn't like, go? Who can say? A lot of drama, more reality TV at the White House. Meanwhile, there was a Confederate monument ripped down by protesters in North Carolina last night. That does bring up the question of how people are feeling about the many Confederate monuments in Arkansas. So far, the temperature is low. There is, however, a petition drive underway to do something about the Confederate statue that appears on the town square in Bentonville, Union country back in the Civil War, across from the Walmart Museum. Some petitioners there say they don't want to tear it down, but move it to someplace more appropriate, like the Pea Ridge National Military Park. On to more local issues. The State Board of Education's charter approval panel, without little debate and with little controversy, quickly approved 2 new charter schools for Little Rock that will add something like 1,100 more charter school seats within the middle of the Little Rock School District by the time they're fully built out. Superintendent Mike Poore of the Little Rock School District said it was not a time to add more charter schools. He said there are adequate schools in that area already, an overabundance of seats. And furthermore, the Little Rock School District is making great progress in test scores and other ways and provides all the innovation that the charter schools provide. That didn't matter to the charter school panel. They didn't seem to care at all what Mike Poore had to say, and they routinely authorized more charter schools. Governor Asa Hutchinson announced today that the state has created a website, Our Tech Jobs, you can find it on the web, to match up employers and employees in high-tech positions of all sorts. It fits in with his computer coding initiative. Interesting news in Jonesboro yesterday. They finally completed a case that goes back 19 years to the Westside Middle School slaughter, when 2 children, a 111, 113, gunned down 15 people, 5 fatally when they lay in ambush outside a middle school up there. They served their time in juvenile court. One's now in prison, one's out in the free world. A lawsuit was won and a judgment was entered for something like $150 million in damages against the 2. It was a symbolic victory. Those 2 will never be able to pay any of this money. Bobby McDaniel waged a long battle to win this lawsuit, in part because he wants to get a release of the depositions that he obtained from these 2 killers in the course of developing this lawsuit. That is going to happen. And so the public will now finally get some insight, however strange it might be, into why 2 young children opened fire on classmates and a school teacher. We hope to have some more reporting on that from David Kuhn very soon. Watch Arkansas Times and the ArkansasBlog.com for that. Arkansas Children's Hospital lost another round in its effort to be considered not a public institution. A fired employee there won an FOI suit today. The judge said that the Children's Hospital receives more than $3 million a year in a county property tax. That means under the law their records are open under the Freedom of Information Act, and they should supply this employee's personnel records about why she was fired. It's an argument I've been making for years, not very successfully, against Children's Hospital. Read the ArkansasBlog.com today for an article by Leslie Peacock about yet another highway study that says the Arkansas Department of Transportation's ideas about curing congestion on Interstate 30 are based on outmoded studies and analysis, that they won't solve any problems by widening Interstate 30 through the town. They'll just do more damage to the city, that there are other ways to handle that traffic. They are not considering other pressure points created by this work. This is something that critics have said all along. In case you're counting, 4 more people were shot last night in 2 separate incidents on Asher Avenue in Little Rock. 1 person remains in critical condition. Yesterday, shortly after we recorded this, Frank Broyles died at age 92. He, of course, is the former football coach and athletic director of the University of Arkansas. A historic and giant figure in Arkansas history, a human being. He certainly had some flaws, particularly on the racial question, as Nolan Richardson lawsuit laid out in pretty painful detail. But there's also no doubt that he was the architect of what is a giant and successful in business terms athletic department at the University of Arkansas. I did some figures today that kind of shows what I'm talking about. Arkansas is the 32nd smallest state or biggest state in the country, 49th in per capita income, 48th or 49th in collegiate education attainment, yet we have an athletic department that ranks 14th in the country in the amount of revenues it raises, something like $120, $130 million a year, and has the 17th highest paid football coach. So we may be low in a lot of rankings. We're near the bottom in life expectancy, number 1 in teen birth, but we have an athletic department we can brag about. And speaking of the University of Arkansas, one more bit of ranking, a new ranking out of the Princeton Review says that the University of Arkansas is one of the 20 worst colleges in the country to go to if you're an LGBT person.